everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. So amazing to see you all joining in every single day. So good to see you, some of the people from the different tribe. Hi, Subhashni. Hey, Veena, Srujal, Sangeeta, Pooja. So good to see you all. A warm welcome to all of you here. We are today on the day 2 of how to be an impeccable speaker. And today is going to be a day to see how to craft our speech. Before I talk about that, how to craft it, how many of you here are aiming to be a speaker? Give me in the chat window if you are someone who are aiming to be a speaker, who are aiming to be a speaker. Now, yesterday we are someone who spoke about, how we are going to be going closer, how we're going to be leaving those layers of inauthenticity, rather going deeper inside it, because the more we are going to be going inside, the more we're going to be glowing outside and more we're going to be growing outside. So the closer you are to your authenticity, the better is going to be the impact. It's a simple game. The more you are making it up, creating something which is not close to you, you might deliver it for one time, but over the time you'll actually realize it's just not working. So that's the first area wherein we kind of, worked and understand ourselves in the first level, in the first session of it. Now, today is going to be how to craft our speech. Now, before I share with you how to craft our speech, I'm going to be requesting you all to make the digital notes and share those digital notes with us in the Telegram group today and on the Instagram. You can make an Instagram post, tag me, put it as a story, and I'm going to be announcing the winner for yesterday's someone who shared, who committed, who stayed with the commitment they made, and that is Priyadarshini Lopamudra. Kudos to you for winning on day one, being that amazing person of sharing and caring for others. When we give the knowledge, the first thing which I say is when you're a speaker, when you're someone who's going out, all out there, you need to have a heart of a giver. That's the core need. Can we all congratulate Priyadarshini? Let's deal a congratulations to her. And I'm going to be requesting every single one of you that when you make notes, don't keep it to yourself. You need to have a heart of a giver. And today you're going to be making that happen. So Priyadarshini and Sharon, these are the two people who committed to what we discussed in the session and shared their bulb on moments in the post on Instagram today. I'm going to be letting you know how you need to do for today as well. And this is going to be winner. I'm going to be giving you all a number. Please ping that number. You're going to be getting your gift coming from our end. Now, let's talk about today's going to be a day for us to talk about how to craft our speech. Now, the number one thing which we need to know is that when we are crafting our speech, it has to be from our story. That's the number one bit. It has to be your story. If you actually see every single time I spoke about starting from the first speech of Super Speaker going to the end one, it was all about me. Now, some of you here in the room would say, but you know what, Shruti, I don't have a story. I don't have a story. Give me yes in the chat. And if someone say, but yeah, I don't have any story. I'm not done. I say, I'm like just a any regular, ordinary girl out there. There's no as a mega big story which I have. Give me in the chat window if you're someone who believes that there's nothing as such, the story which you have, right? Now, what I want you all to know is the moment we feel that I don't have a story, it is not that you do not have a story. It's just that you are bitten by humble syndrome. You do not feel that my story is such a big story to be given up there because you believe that somebody has to do something big in our life to be able to be, to give out their story. And I want you all to know if you're someone who has survived till now, there is impossible. It is actually impossible for you to not have a story. The only thing which we need to do for ourselves is we need to bring that layer of, that humbleness which we are living with, wherein we say that if I give the story, if this is something which I share, na isme itna dum nahi hai. I don't know what are the kind of stories which are most impactful, the ones which are closer to the real life. The stories of the ordinary people, when they add expression to it, has the power which big stories will not also have it. I'll tell you why. For the simple reason that all of us are living a life where we're all going through our challenges. And when you give that, when you make that challenge of yours, when you are able to craft it and give it out, many people out there are able to connect to it and able to relate to it that, wow, she's exactly like me. He's exactly like me. If you are with me on that, give me WY in the chat window. You should be not only inspiring people, you should be someone who will be felt connected with people. People need to feel connected with you, that this is how my life also has been, and this is how I'm also, and that's where the true connection happens. The first thing I want you all to know is have your story. Release yourself from this bug of, which we are bitten with humble syndrome, because it is not that you don't have the story, it's the problem that you do not have the courage to share that story. First thing is, we're not looking inside. We already done this. We discussed this yesterday, that you're going to be making a pen, you're going to be making that note with a pen and paper. Now we have done this. The next step is for you to go deeper into your story. It could be as simple as how you overcome things as a child, or as a teenager, or as an adult. The first thing is go deeper within your own self, instead of getting, really intimidated that some people have really mega story. They're doing something really mega, and I don't have any such mega thing in our life. It's absolutely okay if there's none, if not something that mega, but your story is going to be the unique one, which will inspire people, many who are going through the same struggle. The second thing which I want you all to do is, you want to know is, you are actually shying away from going out. That's the first place many of us feel uncomfortable, when we have to share our story out. We just shy away from our own self. And if anyone here in the room is aiming to be a speaker, if anyone here in the room is aiming to be a coach or a trainer, this is one thing you have to say: I am mastering from today. Are you ready to do that? This is one thing we need to master. So many times in our life, what people think what people think about us is actually costing us our own desires. Some of us have been sitting and thinking for last 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, 3 months, 6 months. I don't know if I do this, what will people think? Now, I want you to ask you this question to your own self: who are these people? खुद से पूछो, ये है कौन यार? और इतनी कितनी पावर दे दी है, that we have given them so much power that they will decide what you will do in your life, and you're not even in touch with them. Just some people are hiding behind somewhere social media. अरे कौन है यार ये? So what we're doing is, many of the times we as human beings are not living our own life, because we are thinking of some people whom we don't even know. And even if we know, what I want you to know is, even if we know, what they think about you is about them. It is not about you. So stop playing the game for them, start playing the game for your own self. So that's going to be your thinking when it comes to that. What do I need to do to be able to make my story as the one, that I move away from that. Now, if anyone is like, but I'm a homemaker, I've not done anything, I don't have a career, I don't have some, bigger thing which I've done, I would say your stories could be, if I have to say that, what's success to me, to someone who's a homemaker and probably have aspiring to do something big. For you, the success is going to be that, the success means to me is to be able to master the game of handling the home, and also master the game of making it big in my profession. Success to me is to be able to take care, to be able to, pack those dabbas and the bags of my kids, and yet to be able to stand up for my own self in the next very 1 hour, in the next very hour, for the things which I want to do. Success for me, it could be simply, knowing that I need not have to be or. I can have it all. Instead of me living a life of all, I am someone who can have it all. So that will be success. I want you all to start go deeper to something which you are and what you want to be, and start bridging it. You don't have to be there for you to say that I can't have it. You could be someone who could aspire for it and yet be there. Are you guys getting it? Even if you are not there, you can still aspire for it and say, this is what it means for me, and just give it heart out. Just put in heart. And you know for a fact, the homemakers, if you don't have a profession, if you're not someone who's an entrepreneur being or having a coaching industry, you can yourself see that you're going to be inspiring every single woman out there who's doing the same. रोज सुबह 6 बजे उठ के सारे घर का काम करना, and then still looking and going and working on the content, working on themselves to be able to break free and not only be the homemaker, but also be the life maker of your own life. That's what success is for you. For you that, putting your kids to sleep and then going and working on yourself because you want to master the game, that's the success for you. For those sleepless nights wherein you didn't sleep, even though you were able to take care of all the things at home, but at night when you were taking care of your own self and designing your life, that is success for you. How many of you are here understanding? It's a very basics for you to actually go to your real life and say it out. Yes, with me. So this is how you can craft your story. Now let's assume you're someone who says my story, I don't know whether I can give it. I'm going to be giving you another idea here. What you can do, the second thing. The second thing you can do is, if you still feel that I don't have the story, pick anyone's stories from which you have got inspired. Anyone. That how someone, it could be a coach, it could be a trainer, it could be a celebrity, it could be Tony Robbins, Dr. D. Martini, it could be anyone, from someone whom you have got inspired, and what is about them that inspires you? What have they created in their life which is actually inspiring you? Now that could be your story. That's something which you can internalize for yourself, that for me, if I am able to do this is what is going to be success for me. For me, if this is something someone can do, this what defines me, for us to be able to win the game of our own life. So you can also pick the story and the basic foundation of someone else, if not yours. Now, what I want you all to do is, at this point, I want you to take the inspiration and convert it into your creation. Take that inspiration from them and ask yourself, what about them are you getting super inspired of? What is the value? What is the things which they are doing right now because you exactly want to be there? So if you do not have it and someone else have it, you will get inspired to it and will convert that inspiration into your creation. Are you guys with me on that? And this is another very powerful way for you to be able to make your story, make your crafting more impactful. It's not always that it has to be mine. You can take an elements of yours, and just taking, going back to a simple example of homemaker, or someone who's just a professional, have not done, much in the industry, or not much been a speaker. You pick anyone who's been able to do it, and start grabbing the elements out of it, that all of this I can have, this is what it is going to be a success for me. Yes. So that's how you coin it, in turn converting your inspiration to the creation. Now, there are three parts of every craft. There are three parts of every story which you're going to be sharing with people. The number one part is the beginning. The number two part is the middle, and the number three part is the end. Now, what I want you all to know is, the impact will get created with the beginning and the end. That's where the true power is. If you're able to build the impact in that sense, in the beginning, at the end. Why in the beginning? Because in the beginning, you're actually, someone is evaluating. You're at the highest evaluation at the beginning. So what you need to do is, the first few seconds in terms of super speaker, the first few minutes in terms of any other speech you're going on the stage, you need to make sure that you create an impact, that you have, placed yourself into their mind and in their heart with the very first 2-3 seconds, which means we are not going to be starting our speech by saying, hi, I'm Shruti Chaudhary. Someone knowing my name does not create any impact on them. That is information. Information does not create impact. Information does not influence people's mind. What influence people's mind is, I'm going to be giving you a few of the quick tips on that. You can see how you can, how do you want to use it? Which one do you able to relate to it? So that's a starting part. Now your middle part, I want you all to know, when you're writing your middle part, or when you have your middle part, just ask yourself, is it repetitive? Is it getting repetitive? Because I've seen some of the people saying things, but they're saying the same thing again and again. Repetition is boring when it is only 1.5 minute speech. Even though from your heart you're trying to convince people, but you need to make sure that you're not repetitive in the middle part. I'm going to be coming to the few more elements of your middle. Make sure that it is not repetitive. Make sure that you're using lesser words to explain the same thing. Many of us use 10 lies to explain one small concept. When it is a smaller speech, when you need to create an impact in 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, in lesser time, you need to make sure that you use lesser words, and those lesser words are able to create the impact. Some of us in the room have the habit of over explaining. In webinars, in sessions like this, in training and coaching, it might work because you have a lot of time. But in speech, if you're trying to over explain, you have lost the impact. If that's powerful, give me P in the chat window. This is the place we need to know. We do not have to be repetitive. We are not going to be using a lot of lines to explain something. When you are using a lot of lines to explain something, it is your lack of confidence that people not understanding. People get created, they get influenced when things are said in a precise way. मतलब कई बार ऐसा होता है कि तुम बोल के छोड़ दो and you leave it there. That part has a more impact rather than you going and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. So make sure that when you're writing it, you're not going too much into it, and that's exactly when it becomes boring, because people do understand by one or two lines that this is what he or she means. So that's your middle part. Now, end part is as important as your starting. How do you leave from the stage? And I have shared for all of you in my Telegram group, I've shared with you what India means to me. I want you all to watch it. I want you to watch it, that in the end, when I said, the jury laughed when I said Sachin, Sachin. The jury laughed when I said, Shah Rukh Khan opened his arms wide open. And I had created an impact by then. But then what comes the tail? The tail comes, the end part comes. India is a pulse inside you and inside me. And if you actually see at that point in time, you again grab the attention. Are you with me on that? If you have not seen it, I truly want you to see, and I want you to see how the attention was also grabbed. Some of the jury members were looking down and they immediately saw, now what is she talking more? So that's how you need to make sure that your end is impactful instead. And in the end, when I say India is a miracle, India is my country, India is my home, I want you to watch the amount of pause there were to create an impact. They were small lines, they were short lines, but they had a lot of power in them. With me on that. So if you guys are not part of my Telegram group, I would strongly recommend you to go to my Insta page, register. The moment you register on this How to Impeccable, the moment you submit, it gives you the link to join the Telegram. Join the Telegram because I'm going to be sharing with you all. You can also watch this speech. It is there on my YouTube channel. It is there on my Instagram. And I want you all to watch whatever I'm teaching right now. This is exactly what I did for my own self. So when you say it with the starting, your end, this is how it is going to be creating an impact. Now let's talk about some of the ways in which you can build your start. How to make your start as impactful. The number one thing which you can do is grab the attention. There are different ways in which you can make the start. See what is something which kinds of you can relate to yours. What is something which you are, which you connect to. You can make start as little dramatic. You can make your start as something wherein you're just immediately doing something to grab an attention. Now, let me give you an example for that as well. So my speech, which was from Super 100 to Super 10, the way the speech started was, speak up, Shruti, speak up. It's just 1 minute. Now, what was the story? The story was that I was in my college. This was my communication skills class, and we were given a topic to research, to work on it, to come back on the stage and talk about it. And when I was standing there, I just couldn't utter a word. I just could say it. And even though there were so many people saying, bolo, 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 my class, my friends, I had literally choked in here that I just can't talk. I want the world to end. Anyone in the room who feels the same when it is about public speaking and you're placed on the stage, I was that, all my life. It's just after 32 years, I've started to do something. And that's the reason when I say, if I can do it now, any one of you in the room can do it. I've never been a speaker ever in my life. I've never, ever in my life been on stage. Like now when my college friends or my school friends see it, say, isko kya ho gaya? Ye kahan se jammi hai? They tell me that you're a newborn, Shruti. We have not known this version of yours ever in our life. So what I want you to know is, if you're someone who says, I have not done it, as I explained you yesterday, it is a learnable skill. You need to learn on it. You need to work on it. You will get it. You will get there. There's no way that you will not get there. If I have got there, every one of us can get there. So what I want to know is that's where I started. So the story was I failed in my college. I couldn't talk. I got a zero. And with all those eyes which were looking at me, I was like, oh my God, who am I? What did I do? And I just don't want to do this ever. I never ever want to be on stage. I never want to fail like this. I never want to feel what I felt today. So that was my story at that point in time. Now, the way I crafted was, I want you all to watch it. If you get it, it's going to be on my Instagram page for sure. I said, speak up, Shruti, speak up. It's just 1 minute. And those were the lines for me to grab the attention. And the next line was, that was the college stage wherein I failed yet again. So, this is how I kind of crafted in just 2-3 lines to give the whole thing. Anyone would get it and then moving to the next part of it. Instead of going, jab main college mein thi, one time in college, this happened and that happened, and 1 minute is done. And we're thinking how to craft the story. Give me a smile in the chat window if you know that what I'm talking about. We're all going to be getting into that stage, as we keep moving ahead for the people who applied for the super speaker. When they're going to be saying, share your story, you'll say, share my story in 90 seconds. That's where you have to start getting smarter. Lesser words, more impact. Lesser words, more impact. And this will not happen at one shot. You're going to be scribbling all your stories. Every single thing you will scribble. And you will go one version to another version to another version to another version. Do you guys want to know how many versions were created for what India means to me? My diamond members have seen it. I've shown them all my scripts in there. 5 versions. Pehla version Word document, itna lamba document, and then the second version, itna lamba document, then removing. And I want you all to know, I even removed one set of paragraph before going on to the stage. Why? Because I felt shorter the better. Shorter the better. I have few lines which will create an impact. Let me not put so much that it will reduce the impact of the lines which are better. This is super powerful. And I want you to know this is where the true power is while crafting your speech. Instead of we all going, you need to tell everything. The lesser you tell and more impactfully you tell, the better it is going to be. And better it is going to be working for you. So you can make it as dramatic. You can, grab the attention. You can even start it with a quote. You can actually start with a quote as well. If that's something you feel that that's how your story is going to be based on that quote. If you say what success to me, I ended it with a quote. I told what is it. And in the end, I said, what success means to me is of knowing, I don't remember the exact line. It's been over a year. But this is what I said, that just jump off the cliff knowing that you will build the wings on the way. Your struggle for today is going to be your strength for tomorrow. So this is how, you can kind of keep the quote as starting. You can also keep the quote at the end, which is relatable to your story. The another part of it is going to be, you can start with asking a question. How many of us have been struggling? And you can put it in there. You can ask with a question, and then I was one of them. You can move in that direction. That's another way for doing it. Or you can come with a shocking fact. Start something which is shocking fact that do you know that 1 out of 10 people, or one, if you have a women's story, 1 out of 5 women in the world are suffering. If you know that there's some suffering of yours, it could be anything, it could be any offense. So basically, if you have a mess in your life, and I say mess, I don't mean to kind of disrespect the pain you have, but what I want to say is, if you're someone who's gone through something which has been really closer to your heart and you have kind of felt a lot of pain, it's time for you to get out of it now by spreading it and helping people know that there's so many of us who's going through it. It could be you, like, one of my diamond members who's been doing it along with us has been talking about, how she has been called as Moti, Fatty. She forgot her name. She only knew that this is her new name. So for her message is for everyone who's been engaged into their own identity of being fat. For someone, it could be the pain they have gone through while going through a divorce. For someone, it could be the pain they have gone through by being brought up in a community wherein they do not have the luxury even for the education. They do not have the luxury to even work. So they do not have that simple base of freedom. So the more you go closer to the story you have, the more you are ready to bring out that, turn your mess into the message, the stronger is going to be the impact. The more it is going to be bahar ka chalo dekhte hain, karte hain, sochenge, dekhenge, the lesser is going to be the impact. So you really need to see that how do you kind of craft this and how you will be changing in terms of, to make it interesting by applying all these elements. Now, the last few bits of it is once you have written your script, just watch it, just read it and say it for yourself. Is every single line of it is interesting and is coming from your heart? That's the question you're going to be asking yourself. Is every part of it is coming from my heart? If every part of it is coming from my heart, it is yours. It is yours. Then when you will talk, the authenticity will automatically come. Now, second part of it, which you need to ask yourself is when you have written the script, I'm going to be giving you a very powerful thing, which is like literally a little copy paste kind of a funda also, but you can do that. When you have written your script, now someone would say, but I don't have a very great English, or probably I don't have a very great vocabulary. That's something which I also have felt for myself as well. Now, what you do is, now this is a typical software engineers in the room will get to know that Shruti is not only a coach, इसने engineering भी कर रखी है, engineers ही ऐसी tips देंगे life में. I pick up that word, I go to Google and I say synonyms. And I find the more powerful, persuasive word against it. So that's how you make it more impactful when it comes to vocabulary. When you say that I don't have the vocabulary, it's okay. You can write in your own vocabulary, but if you want to make it more persuasive, there's something English mein kehte like I have young kids, I teach them persuasive words, powerful words. And if you feel I want to make it more powerful, just pick your word, go to the Google and type their synonyms. If you're someone who's not able to think of the right word, antonyms, synonyms, and just kind of repeat it. So synonym is how can the same. So somebody says good. She looks good. Good is also a good word, but then when you say she looks elegant, she looks graceful, the energy and the power of the same line goes to the next level. And this is a very powerful thing which you can start doing for your script as well, that, okay, saying happy is nice, but how about saying that feeling the joy in my heart? Automatically, the energy of your script, the energy of your talk goes to the next level. So this is something which you can see in terms of, what are the elements in your script which can replace to be able to make it more impactful. Couple of other things which you can do is you can start Googling on the quotes, because quotes also make any of the script, any of the talk very impactful. If you have no idea what quotes are going to be, one or two quotes also, if you add to it, based on, it has to be ऐसे मतलब misfit भी नहीं होना चाहिए. It has to be based on what you're talking, because quotes naturally have the tendency to influence and impact people. Do you guys agree? Quotes, facts, questions, they naturally have the tendency for them to be able to create an impact in the mind of others. With me? Yes. So this is not going to be, it's very detailed, but I'm going to be giving you like top few things which you can start doing for yourself. Know it for a fact, your version number 1 is not maybe your final version. Like I had 5 versions of it before I finally realized that this is going to be my, my talk of the day. Now there's a third talk wherein I am saying actually, hi, I'm Shruti Chaudhary, super speaker finale. My last speech is, hi, I am Shruti Chaudhary. Now the reason I've started with my name is because that talk specifically said that it is about you. You need to talk about yourself. At the same time, I want you to watch this. Instead of saying, hi, I'm Shruti Chaudhary, I'm a personal and branding, personal and mindset coach, and I do this. That's a regular way of doing it. What is the extraordinary way of doing it? Extraordinary way of doing it could be little different, little hatke, wherein you say, hi everyone, I'm Shruti Chaudhary. I'm a software engineer by degree, personality and mind coach by passion, and an entrepreneur totally by chance. And then I start my journey, during my time in Punjab, 2 buses were leaving, one towards the, the engineering college, another one towards the medical college. I boarded the engineering one. If you actually see, story in itself is nothing. I just became an engineer, and that's how it's happened for me. But how you craft that story and make it little more interesting is a work we need to do when we're writing that script. If anyone in the room is feeling, okay, I will be the master of my script at one shot, I'll write it and be done. None of us were able to do it like that. All of us, like the last The last for us, the last speech was something which was given to us one night before. So the last speech is the one wherein we actually were writing and doing, and it took good amount of 2 to 3 hours for us to craft it, to practice it, and kind of keep practicing it. It's not like abhi kara ho gaya. And for all my trainers and coaches in the room, webinar and speech is very different models. Very different models. It's time bound. It has to be precise and crisp, and that's only the way it will be able to create that impact and influence. Yes, with me.